Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Thursday. And first and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. Now, with all that being said, I know I've been gone for a minute, so I hope everybody is tuning in. I do apologize. I have been gone. You know, I had on vacation. I've been in South Beach. I really enjoyed my time away. I need to go decompress. Got a lot of things going on within my family, as well as, you know, a close friend of mine that's not doing very well in the hospital, just trying to hang on to dear life. So it's just a lot of things that weigh heavy on my mind as of late. But, you know, this is this thing called life that we all must travel down and everybody must go through. But at the end of the day, you know, this is all about the Lakers, and we're going to talk about the Lakers today. And we know the Los Angeles Lakers. I do want to kind of get caught up on some things, of course, that I missed on last week. Of course, I was in Miami, didn't get a chance to see LeBron drop those 56. I saw some of it. I was at a place where they had about 20-some TVs in there. I won't say the name of the place, Tootsie's. Shout out to Tootsie's. Anybody go to Miami, y'all will like it. Strip club / sports bar / everything else, but it's a great time. But anyway, when you're down there, they got a lot of TVs, but they had the UFC fight going on, and of course they got the Miami and Philly game on every TV, and because of course we know LeBron left Miami, so they didn't want to have any parts of that. But lo and behold, they did have the game way at the top, which I could barely see, but I could see LeBron was going off. I just hate I didn't get a chance to enjoy it, and of course it was short-lived anyway, because right after that he did not play in the very next game at San Antonio. These are winnable games for the Lakers, because you know they do have the toughest schedule left in the league. And of course he did not play in San Antonio. That was a winnable game. You know, and then of course the game at Houston, another winnable game as well. The Lakers could not close the deal on either one of those games. And of course a lot of people are giving up hope on the Lakers, saying it's just a done dollar, you know, and this is the thing, you know, I won't even get into the San Antonio game because that's all water under the bridge. And I was traveling back on my way to Miami and got some bad Wi-Fi going on and things like that. So at the end of the day, I don't want to really break down that game. I didn't see a lot of it. But what I do want to talk about is yesterday, the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Houston Rockets down in Houston. Very winnable game. Houston was missing a couple of key players, starters that was out. They ended up bringing out the center, Segun, who actually ended up playing pretty good. But of course, LeBron was tasked at being the center again, which they had already beat Houston previously this year. As a matter of fact, that was LeBron's first game starting at center. Was against Houston, which resulted in a victory. But on this night, it was just not to be done, because we all know Jalen. Hey, the boy was hooping last night. He did his thing. We don't want to take anything away from him. He is a good young rising star. He definitely played well last night, but at the end of the day, it's a team that the Lakers definitely should have been able to beat. And of course, I know in losses, I always lay the loss down on whoever I think the loss, whoever it belongs to. And that's what I'm gonna do again. Like if I say it's vocal, it's vocal. You know, if I say it's THT or LeBron or whoever. And last night, the person most directly responsible for the Lakers' loss is none other than, you already know, LeBron James. And typically when I say LeBron James like that, it's in a good fashion, but LeBron James did not have a particularly good night at all. Had LeBron even played, even as a glimpse of his normal self, then the Lakers would have easily won that game. And it's a sad thing because, you know, Russell Westbrook had not been playing well, and he kind of stepped up to the plate last night. Russ had 30 points, and he did it somewhat efficiently, and he only had 2 turnovers. But then if you see what LeBron was just broke, kept shooting threes. He was 1 out of 9 from 3. He finally made a 3 late. I believe when he did not have a 3, that he should have went away from it, because he was still consistently getting to the basket. But I think because of all the heavy minutes that he was playing on defense, it just weighed too much on him. Like his shot, he just didn't have it in his legs, because usually that's all in your legs, especially when you shoot from distance. That's a lot of that is in your legs. You might not realize. And he just did not have it. He was playing defense on center against Segun, who, you know, I won't say outweighs him, but is younger and is a true center, I would say, even though he's just not as big as your typical center. But Sengun himself, I mean, he's still, what, 260? I know he's 6'10", 255, 260. So he's not just the smallest people for LeBron to have to guard. And LeBron was doing a pretty good job. He didn't get a whole lot of help when they came on a double, when he continually tried to post LeBron up. But LeBron, a lot of times, swatted the ball from his hand, played good defense, forced him to alter his shot, made him miss his shot, and did good for the most part, because Sengun, I think, only ended up with 21 points, which wasn't bad. But at one point, even when LeBron wasn't in the game and they continued to play small, I don't know what Vogel was thinking, because Sengun was just pretty much having his way, and he never put Dwight Howard in at all, which I think Dwight Howard, in this particular game, would have gave them something, because he would have gave them the size that they needed in the paint. But then he put in Wayne and Gabrielle, who, the Kentucky standout, who, has been a journeyman himself, and, not like everybody jumped up and down and enjoyed when the Lakers picked him up. But it was, with the departure of DeAndre Jordan, you needed to beef up that front court. And, he was put into the game, and he only played 3 minutes, but in those 3 minutes, he was a +4, and he came in and he was quite active. He did get fouled twice in the paint, and he only made 1 out of 4 free throws. I don't know if that played into Frank Vogel's reasoning behind not playing him longer, but I think when LeBron needed a spell, then it wouldn't hurt to allow him to continue playing. Why pick him up if you only want to give him a chance? And I mean, he was a +4 while he was on the floor. He did make a shot as well. He almost made a 3, which he doesn't take a lot of threes before his career. I want to say he's 35% from 3. Even though he might only take 1 3 a game, but at least he's capable or semi-capable of hitting it. Not saying you want to rely on that, of course not, but as far as him ability and the energy that he brought in on the paint, because he was not going to let Sengun or anybody else have their way in the paint, because he was having his way in the paint the few minutes that he was in. And I'd have liked to see him, and that was at the last couple of minutes of the third quarter, I'd have liked to see him come in the fourth. And I know you want to bring LeBron right back in the fourth, but when you spelled LeBron during the midway point of the fourth quarter, because he's playing so many heavy minutes, and you should have brought him back in, or at least gave Dwight Howard a shot, because you needed that. And the game kept going back and forth, the Lakers being ahead. When a lot of lead changes, for the most part, the Rockets was ahead by 2 or 3 for a lot of part of the second half, and the Lakers finally came back, were tied up, then they took a lead. Then you could tell at the end of the game, it just seems like a game that the Rockets were not going to win. To me, it seemed like the Rockets started to shoot these threes, and they weren't falling anymore, and they were just about to hold their head down and be the typical last place team that they are and give up, and the Lakers was right there. But unfortunately, the Lakers weren't making shots as well. Carmelo, he missed a few key opportunities. LeBron missed key opportunities down the stretch. Westbrook missed a couple of layups, right point blank range. Of course, THT was unavailable for the night. It's like the Lakers can never get fully healthy, so you get Bradley back, and then now THT goes out. So it's just like the Lakers can never have a full deck of who they're playing with. But at the end of the day, the Lakers still should have been able to beat this younger team. And then let's talk about the last play of the game, which of course I know everybody is wanting me to probably discuss, and how do I feel about it. And like I said, I do lay this loss at the feet of LeBron James, because he shot 9 out of 26 for 35%. And had he made just 3 or 4 more of those shots, the Lakers would have easily won. But of course, he did not. And if you think of it, if he was 9 out of 26 and 9 of those shots was threes, then that would have been what? 17 shots. He would have been 9 out of 17. So how about that? Would have been a whole lot better percentage. It actually would have been over 50%. And then he actually could have took less threes. Just stop shooting. And then the Lakers, I think, would have had a chance if he saw they weren't falling. But back to the end of the game again, I was hoping that he wouldn't settle for 3 and go for overtime, since he was shooting so many threes. I was really hoping that he would not shoot a 3 and go into overtime. But he actually did what I wanted him to do and put his head down and go towards the basket. And he did. And of course, his shot was a little bit altered, so he came underneath the goal. But my initial response when he passed out to Carmelo was, what the hell are you doing? So I'm just going to be honest, because whether, you know, in the post game, I know LeBron said he was off balance, that, you know, that the player stepped in front of him, causing him to step off balance a little bit, and he felt like he wasn't going to make the shot because he didn't have his balance. That's only for him to know. I've seen LeBron James make hella acrobatic shots throughout the majority of his career, so I just feel like that's a shot that he should have put up with an attempt to go to the rim, because worst case scenario, if you do miss the shot, there's only so much time left in Houston. I mean, it still would have went to overtime. He felt like Carmelo had a good look, and Carmelo did have a good look. That's a shot that Carmelo normally makes and can knock down. And I know a lot of people out there saying, well, LeBron's not the GOAT because that show you the mentality he should have made it. He felt like he made the best basketball play, and I'm sure it's not. LeBron has taken plenty of shots at the end of the game. So for anybody who's saying he was afraid of the moment, just shut the hell up, because that's dumb. He wasn't afraid of the moment. He felt like he made the best basketball play. Nobody tended to agree with him on that, including his arch supporters like Nick Wright, even myself, who is a very, of course, always been behind LeBron James as, to me, the greatest player of all time, you know, or at least in the top 2 or 3. But at the end of the day, on that particular play, I felt he should have tried to finish at the rim. I don't think he would have had contact. He was just more so off balance. He got to a good spot where he beat them off the dribble. But as far as being afraid, I don't think that's the case, because if he misses that layup, if it rims out, nobody's going to say, oh my God, he missed. You know what I mean? It's not like it's some kind of jump shot fadeaway. So, you know, he felt he was off balance. You can only go by the man's word and why he shot it out. Let's just hope he didn't have money on the game. You know what I'm saying? But at that point, LeBron was fatigued, and you could see in overtime when he couldn't jump up and get the jump ball, what was going to happen. And Schroeder was a shot in the arm. He wanted to prove something. He played well. I mean, overall, Houston has 7 players, but you got to realize Houston has beat some good teams as of late. I want to say they beat Memphis not too long ago. They beat Boston recently. So even though they're a cellar dweller and a bottom basement team, they are an NBA team, and they are respected, and, you know, they have to be respected anytime they step on the court, because they are in the association. And when the Lakers come to town and you look up in the crowd and you see your hometown fans are cheering for the other team, it's going to make you want to be like, get up out our stadium. Don't come here. This is Houston. Don't come here cheering for the Lakers. That's one thing we won't do. And that's back in the day in Memphis, whenever Kobe used to come to town, Lakers jerseys everywhere, 24 and number 8 everywhere, you know, and he would always want to put on the show in arenas, on away arenas, who was very good supporters of the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. But at the end of the day, you know, the Lakers still should have won. Do I feel like it hurt their chances in the playoffs? Not really, because, I mean, they're going to be in the play-in tournament regardless. The Clippers took care of business against the Wizards last night. I don't see them losing that spot, and that's the play-in spot anyway. And they're not getting Denver's spot to get out of the play-in. You would like to be positioned better, because if they end up in the 9th or 10th spot, that's going to be bad for them, because we all know they have to win 2 games instead of 1, and it will be against the Clippers, and it will be against Minnesota. And you know they have not beat the Clippers in a mighty long time, so to get that playoff spot against the Clippers would be a big-time game. I still feel with Anthony Davis back and fully healthy that they can win, but especially the way Terrence Mann has been playing, the way Reggie Jackson has been playing, like the confidence level that people have against the Lakers is just through the roof. I will say I like Vogel's lineup. His rotations weren't too bad. He's put Trevor Ariza out of the lineup. He's not playing Ellington. He barely plays Bazemore, so I don't have a real problem with that. The only problem I had with him on yesterday is wishing he would have played another big, but he did not. So I'm gonna tell y'all this. The day before LeBron James went off for them 56, I told everybody, stop worrying. Don't worry. Everything gonna happen for a reason. But the way it look now is, you know, we gotta motivate Lakers Nation once again. Nobody is gonna give the Lakers anything. So at the end of the day, you just have to do what you got to do and go out and fight and take it. And if the Lakers match up against Golden State, everybody, oh, Golden State, but you saw what they just did to them. And now Golden State has fell to the 3. So if the Lakers, with the way they're positioning now, they won't end up in that 7th spot. They won't. Now, if they was in the 8th instead of the Clippers, it'll be a long shot where they could possibly move up and take the 7th spot in the play-in game and play potential Golden State, if Golden State can get that 2 seed back. But really, the Lakers don't really want any parts of Memphis, I say, in the play-in tournament, to be honest. I don't think too many people are going to want a part of Memphis in the play-in tournament, to be honest. And I think they would have a better shot against Phoenix if AD can get healthy, to be honest, with the way that they match up against one another. But we got some good games going on tonight. We do know that Philly is playing the Nets. That'll be a good game. Everybody tune into that. I might give a breakdown of that tomorrow, but the season is winding down, so just everybody stick with me. I know I keep saying consistency is the key for me, and I will come back and be more consistent, but I did need to break and take that last week off and get down to sunny Florida, but I'm back in Tennessee now. But with all that being said, you know, I just want to say right on to the real and much love to these haters. I'm out.